In early 2023, Anthony Morris III stepped down or was removed from the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. This was a few months before I started making videos, so sadly I never got a real chance to roast his material. Better late than never, I suppose. Also, these text fade-ins are way too dramatic for a sarcastic intro. Anyway, Tony provided some great comedic material, and for that, I'm going to miss him. Without further ado, this is my tribute to Anthony Morris III.
Oh, Tony, you came and you gave without taking. Did they send you away, oh, Tony? You drank and it stopped you from speaking. Alright.
Hey everybody, I'm the Great Shroud, and this is Tony. Tony, wherefore art thou, Tony? Why did you have to leave before I started making videos? It infuriates me. But it doesn't matter, because before he left, or was removed, or was kicked out, or was voted out, no one knows. Someone knows, I guess.
And we may never know.
Before all of that, he left us with some great material, and that's what I want to go over today. I'm just going to go over, 3 of my favorite things about Tony Morris. I'm just going to kind of make fun of them, and we're going to have some fun. Let's get into it. Also, if you like listening to me blabber on, then subscribe to my unprofessional, infrequent videos.
This is just a preview of what we have in store for you in the future.
So I'm going to start out with an obvious one. This one was released a few years ago, and I'm going to put a link in the description to the original video, to the original uploader. But basically, Tony Morris was spotted in a store, and check the boozy section. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we found him.
Is that him?
Yes, guy from Sopranos, it's definitely him.
Are you sure?
Well, who else do you think would be standing right next to this monstrosity?
What's he doing in there?
Well, as a governing body member at the time, he's obviously very wisely using the donations made by Jehovah's Witnesses to, get some booze. I mean, imagine going to a store with a friend of yours so that you can buy a bottle of wine just so the two of you can share it over dinner, and then your friend grabs a trolley. You'd just be like, Jesus Christ, dude, you don't think that's a little bit much? But no, Tony knows it's not a little bit much. It's just right.
I see you're a fan of Scotch. Do you know anything about Irish whiskey?
Yeah?
I bet you do, Tony. Of course you do. I can see it right now. Every Sunday night, down a tall glass of Jameson with your dinner, and then with your dessert, you have some Black Label, and then you sit on the couch and put on your favorite Caleb and Sophia cartoon and enjoy it with some Red Label while you smoke your pipe, and then you put some more wood on the fireplace and have some Jack Daniels, and right after that, you wash it down with some Jack Daniels honey, and then you think, you know what, I really like Canada. I'm gonna have some Crown Royale, and then right before bed, just after you brush your teeth, you just have a glass of water with some Famous.
Okay, that's a little much.
So when this video came out, understandably so, a lot of people got mad because this is an, at the time, governing body member going into a store and buying a couple of $100 worth of booze. And this is a guy who's from an organization, not just from an organization, but partially running an organization that's always preaching moderation. And, they even released the Caleb and Sophia video, saying to kids that, don't buy ice cream, instead you should donate. And I'll be getting to that episode for sure. This is just complete hypocrisy at its finest. When I was growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, I used to think of the governing body members as like these sort of divine human beings that had this special, this special spiritual connection with the one true God or something, that you never really saw them, but you heard about them and you thought so highly of them, almost like they're gods, but they're not. And yeah, it turns out, obviously, they're not. You may be surprised to know that Tony Morris is not a divine human being, but his taste in whiskey certainly is divine. On to the next one.
You can't go wrong with it. Do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Whoever, therefore, wants to be a friend of the world is making himself an enemy of God.
What if somebody in the world is serving discounts on Jameson?
So, what a clear warning. We don't want to have any friendship, whether socially or on social networks, with Jehovah's enemies. We're not friends of the world. We're Jehovah's friends. We're looking at him as our closest and most precious friend, and we never would want Jehovah to view us as an enemy.
This ridiculous logic is why so many people who grow up as witnesses go through absolute hell because their parents basically don't let them have friends. And this is basically how that conversation goes, albeit an extremely exaggerated version. Here we go. Hey, Dad? Yes, son. Tomorrow after school, can I go to McDonald's with Mark? Mark? Who the fuck is Mark? He's a kid from school. Oh, a kid from school! You mean a worldly child of Satan? He's president of the chess club. Oh, so he's also a dork. You know we don't befriend filthy, worldly children scum like Mark. Mark is a really nice kid. Mark is a worldly piece of shit. You stay the hell away from the enemy of God, spawn of Satan, no paradise, hope having motherfucker. Unless he wants a Bible study and agrees to join our religion, and only then.
But the wicked will perish, the enemies of Jehovah will vanish like glorious pastures. Particularly, they will vanish like smoke.
Tony then gives us his infamous illustration about what's going to happen to God's enemies.
So I thought this would be a nice memory aid to this verse stay in the mind. Here's what Jehovah's promising.
That's right, everyone who doesn't agree to join this religion will be killed. All of your friends from school,
Death!
all of your friends from work,
Death!
everyone who lives in your street,
Death!
people in remote countries who have never heard of this religion,
Death!
a kind old man who donates to charity,
Death!
a woman who has just given birth to a baby.
Double death!
That's right, Tony, it's death for everybody.
It's genocide!
That's Jehovah's enemies.
And finally, the last video for today is the one that gave birth to the legend of Tight Pants Tony. I'll put a link in the description so you can watch the whole thing yourself, but basically Tony is talking about how much he hates men and women who are witnesses wearing tight pants.
And what it is this Spanx, the skin-tight stuff they wear.
Ever hear of Spanx?
Now, are any sisters wearing it in the ministry? No. I can't say I've ever seen that. But when they exercise, they leave their home and they're jogging in this stuff.
Tony certainly has an obsession with what people are wearing when they're out jogging in their own time. And I can see it right now when he's arguing with like a younger brother who says it's not so much of a problem. I think this is pretty much how it would play out. Brother Morris, I kind of like girls in Spanx.
Here, she got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it. Jesus. When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
And the other one that needs addressing is for these young fellas, because the older ones aren't doing much of it, thankfully. It's the metrosexual look. We've addressed that in the past. We've said things about it. But what's happened now, it's really caught on more. Now, metrosexual, that's the tight suit jacket and the tight pants, better known as tight pants.
Tony wears his pants super tight.
Your pants are too tight!
But Tony, how tight are they?
They are tight, I mean tight, all the way down to the ankles.
Tony's going to war in tight pants, people. The plagues of humanity are not war and famine and pestilence. No. It's tight pants. You can't have elders going out on the ministry dressed like Russ, squeaking up and down the street in their leather pants. It just ain't gonna happen. Not on Tony's watch.
They're not coming on, man.
And pray tell, Tony, what is the reason that we see more young brothers wearing tight pants? Is it just because of personal preference, or can we just blame the homosexuals?
The homosexuals that are designing these clothes, they like you in tight pants.
I knew it! Tony has unveiled my favorite conspiracy theory of all time. Gay people infiltrated the entire fashion industry with one goal in mind: get straight dudes wearing tight pants. Why? Not because of a modern fashion sense, not for capitalist gains, but simply because they want to see straight guys' asses. It's like there will be two of the leading gay guys who run the fashion industry, not just any gay dudes, but specifically the ones that Tony is referring to, you know, like the top gay dudes. Those two guys having coffee and just seeing straight guys walking around all wearing tight pants. And one says to the other one, hey, do you think those billions we spent in advertising was worth it? And the other guy's like, worth it? I mean, would you look at the butt cheeks on that guy? Of course it was worth it. Ah, Tony, you are a legend. You've outdone yourself, because this is my favorite theory of all time. I'm sorely going to miss you, you weird, alleged alcoholic, homophobic old man. And finally, my friends, I leave you with how I think the last meeting with Tony and the governing body went down.
Tell Mike it was only business. I always liked him.
He understands that.
Excuse me, sir.
Tom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
Can't do it, Sally.
So thanks for watching. This was a really fun video to make, and I'll catch you next time, and remember to subscribe. Bye-bye!
Oh, Tony, you came and you gave without taking. Did they send you away, oh, Tony? You drank and it stopped you from speaking.